see. Hello there, you 6.4 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage to truth and freedom. Within you, there is a great light. Nurture that light. Do not let them make you feel unlovable and unworthy. There is a greatness within you waiting to be born. I can feel it. I can see it. Turn on the notification bell right now and subscribe to this channel. We make this content every single day. I do not want you to miss a thing. Remember, we do this show on Rumble every day. From June 5th, we'll be back with fantastic guests like this one. I had a magnificent conversation with an activist who was blowing whistles all over the place during the pandemic, who had interesting information about the new Fauci. The NIH has replaced Fauci. Fauci can't go on forever. It's not like he's got access to wonder drugs. Let's not get into that territory. But there is a new Fauci in town. Is this new Fauci going to be any better? How can they be when over their career they've accepted hundreds and millions of dollars of Pfizer funding? This is a fantastic conversation with Dr. Bob Gill that you are going to love. You're going to walk away from a lot smarter. Stay to the end. First thing we wanted to talk to you about was Monica Bertagnolli, aka the new Fauci. She previously received $290 million in funding from Pfizer. Is she an appropriate person to be working in the position that she is, when many people suspect that Anthony Fauci's ties to the pharmaceutical industry led to his mismanagement, some people are saying, of the pandemic, and possibly, a lot of people talk about how Fauci handled the AIDS crisis 20 years earlier also. What do you think about these kind of figures that have had financial ties to Big Pharma being in government positions?
I think the Daily Wire had a deal with Twitter to play their famous documentary, What is a Woman, tonight live for free for everybody to check out. I don't know if it was going to be live, it was going to be free for like 24 hours. And at the last minute, it is being reported by the Daily Wire and their CEO, Jeremy Boring, co-CEO Jeremy Boring, that Twitter pulled out of the deal because the documentary misgenders two people. That's right. A documentary about gender misgenders people. And it's fascinating because the documentary actually is done really, really well in that Matt Walsh, who is leading this picture, gives an opportunity to anyone to express their ideas. And in fact, one of my favorite scenes, one of the scenes in question, shows Matt Walsh actually arguing the side of gender ideology, as a good interviewer would do. Speaking with a man at his store who had an encounter with a trans woman who was on the city council, Matt Walsh actually says, but you're not a scientist, how do you know these things? You've not done these studies, how can you tell someone's a woman, how do you know you're a man? He's actually arguing the points made by the left to see what this guy will say. It's what a good interviewer would do, and it allows people to express themselves in a semi-adversarial way. Meaning, here's the other side, what's your argument? Twitter said, nope. And so they canceled the deal, and when the Daily Wire said, we're going to show it anyway, they said, we will make sure no one sees it. I'm paraphrasing, but let me read for you the story and show you the thread from co-CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring. The Daily Wire reports Twitter cancels deal with the Daily Wire to stream What is a Woman over misgendering and will label the film hateful conduct. And it's just so shocking and offensive that, it's the first day of American Greatness Month, where all of these companies are putting up rainbows to symbolize God's covenant to the earth. I'm just so surprised. You see what I'm doing there, huh? Anyway, let's read the news. Daily Wire co-CEO Jeremy Boring revealed Thursday that Twitter canceled a deal with the conservative media company to stream its hit documentary, What is a Woman? I'm saying documentary, I like that on purpose because I love it when people say that, for free on social media platform due to misgendering after Elon Musk's takeover of the social media platform and his promised dedication to free speech. The Daily Wire sought a deal to stream Matt Walsh's What is a Woman on Twitter for the documentary's 1-year anniversary. Initially, Twitter responded enthusiastically to the idea, even offering the Daily Wire a package to purchase a whole page for Twitter users to view the film, Boring said. That changed after the platform asked to view a screening of the film. Jeremy, could it be that it all changed after the new CEO came to be? The woman who worked for the Biden administration and the World Economic Forum? Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I have Snopes, the greatest news organization. They say Snopes has new Twitter CEO Linda Yaccarino worked with both WEF and Biden administration. True! There you go. Maybe that's what changed. I don't know for sure. They say, quote, after reviewing the film, though, Twitter let us know that not only could we no longer purchase the package they offered, they would no longer provide provide us any support. It would actually limit the reach of the film. Label it as hateful conduct because of misgendering, Boring said in a Twitter thread. Well, let me just pull up the actual Twitter thread and go through everything Jeremy says. So Jeremy tweeted this morning around 9 a.m. Twitter canceled the deal with the Real Daily Wire to premiere What is a Woman for free on the platform because of 2 instances of misgendering. I'm not kidding. Here's what happened. 1 year ago today, we released What is a Woman. To celebrate the occasion and expand the movie's already enormous impact, we decided to give it away for free for 24 hours on Twitter. With Twitter's recent commitment to free speech, we thought it would be the perfect place to distribute the film and drive the conversation forward on one of the most important topics of our day. Twitter responded with enthusiasm and offered us the opportunity to buy a package to host the movie on a dedicated event page and to promote the event to every Twitter user over the first 10 hours. We accepted and signed an agreement. After we signed, Twitter asked to see the film to better understand what parts may trigger users so they could better prepare their response. They said they were still all hands on deck for the launch, so we sent them a screener. After reviewing the film, though, Twitter let us know that not only could we no longer purchase the package they offered, they would no longer provide us any support and would actually limit the reach of the film and label it as hateful conduct because of misgendering. Specifically in the film, a father refers to his 14-year-old daughter as her, and a store owner uses the wrong pronoun in a confrontation with a trans person, which is literally the point of the film. And not only that, it is not the Daily Wire that is doing it. It is subjects in the film saying these things. This is insane. The Twitter basically is saying, if out in the wild you happen to film someone, and even if the context is critical, they will ban the content. Yup. Look, I like Elon Musk. Elon Musk does great work. And I'm worthy of criticism, of course, especially pertains to China, but I'm not going to know everything. I think what he's doing is some of the most important work on the planet with SpaceX, with Starship, and with Mars colonization. So I'll accept, that some bad comes with good, but it's a net positive across the board. I wonder if this is an oversight. I kind of believe Elon will intervene and say, no, this film, we're not doing this. And I think that they likely will see this turned around. I'm hoping. I don't know for sure. I wonder if bringing on this new WEF CEO is what's changed it all. And Elon may be recognizing that he's not able to save this platform the way he hoped. We'll see. He's done a decent amount of good already, but he was going to say there's more. Jeremy says, we reminded Twitter they removed misgendering from their policy, that the term misgendering itself is misleading, and that enforcing such a policy places them on the side of the most radical elements in society, the side most opposed to their commitment to free speech. Twitter clarified they only removed misgendering from their policy because they didn't need to be that specific, but that they still can...
You smell amazing. It's native, clean, effective, all-day deodorant. Jimmy Dean morning combos.
They're bite-sized. I've got a nickel to say that.
Misgendering from their policy because they didn't need to be that specific, but that they still consider misgendering abuse and harassment. My oh my. They gave us the opportunity to edit the film to comply. We declined. Bravo, good sir. When we asked how much they would limit the visibility if we posted the film anyway, Twitter replied that our own followers would not be able to see it in their feeds. This, they said, is part of their speech not reach policy. It's also called shadow banning. Of course, saying you have the right to speak, but we'll make sure no one hears you is a bit like saying you have the right to cast a vote, but we'll make sure it isn't counted. That's not right at all. Not right at all, he says. We brought all our shows to Twitter Tuesday because we believe Twitter was committed to free speech, especially on this issue. After all, the Babylon Bee was silenced on Twitter over this very issue, and that in part prompted Elon Musk to purchase the platform. The other tech platforms have already decided where they stand in the trans debate and demonetized and deprioritized all those who disagree. Now, Twitter has joined the ranks of the other tech superpowers in ensuring one side of the debate is suppressed. Elon Musk is not beholden to conservatives. He has the right to run his business as he sees fit. But if Twitter is going to throttle one side of one of the most important debates facing society, it cannot claim to champion free speech. I'd like to bring you back, Jeremy, to like 3 years ago when this was literally their policy. He says, I hope Elon Musk will reconsider this awful policy. If we can't debate these issues on Twitter, where can we debate them? If If conservatives aren't welcome on Twitter, where are they welcome? It's unlikely another centibillionaire will come along to offer an alternative. Well, Jeremy, there's always Rumble. Yeah, for real. There's always posting the documentary for free for 24 hours on Rumble. Look, Twitter's a massive platform, and Elon buying it opened the door. I, as CEO of Timcast Media, have subscribed to the enterprise level user of the platform. Timcast News on Twitter, which is our parent account, has the golden badge, and it costs a lot of money. It's not just about the golden badge, it's about prioritization, it's about verifying all of our employees, up to a certain number, I believe. And it's about, you know, like, here's our business, this is really us, we want to be verified, we don't want people impersonating us and things like that. I don't know if I care anymore. You know, when Twitter announced they were going to be bringing on this World Economic Forum woman, I was about to click cancel. And then people were like, no, give them a chance. Give them a chance. When they do something wrong, and I said, fair point. If I cancel now, I actually sacrifice my leverage. And so it's better to say, hey, you're bringing this WF person on. If you do bad by us, we cancel. No, okay, please don't cancel, trust me, we'll be okay. Right now, we are on the line. If they do not reinstate this deal with the Daily Wire, we'll probably cancel. I'll probably just cancel Twitter Blue across the board. Just be like, there's no point. There's no point in paying for a platform that would do something like this. Look, if we were talking about someone who said they wanted to post a video that was just screaming hate speech, and like, we made a video where we just don't like X group of people, I'd be like, okay, dude, listen. This is, the segment's in question, subjects of the film making statements. Okay, how are we supposed to know what people in the real world think if we can't even show a thing that happened? You see my point? It is not Matt Walsh who is going on here and be like, I'm gonna misgender all these people. And even if that was the case, he's having an academic debate over the issue, and they said no. So be it. Why am I going to invest in Twitter in that case? For real. Why spend any of his money? I'll tell you, the amount of money I spend on this can be spent on other things. So look, I'm gonna wait. If tonight Twitter does not restore the Daily Wire, I'm just gonna cancel all of our subscriptions. We all get de-verified. I literally don't care. There's no point in paying for something that is detrimental to our values. I won't do it. I think it may be too late at this point for Twitter as well. To set up a dedicated page probably takes time, and they're not going to be able to pull it off. I wonder, is the Daily Wire actually enterprise verified? Let me double check real quick. I wonder if they'd even drop it. The Daily Wire is golden verified. It's got the yellow badge. They say this account is verified because it's an official organization on Twitter. Well, I don't know about you guys, Daily Wire, but I'm not going to pay if they don't restore you. Maybe the Daily Wire thinks it's still worth paying for the service, but my view is I will not give money to these companies. I won't do it. It's bad enough I have to go to Starbucks. Okay? Starbucks isn't the worst. They're in terms of like wokeness, but they're as bad as anybody else, right? What I mean to say is they do bad things, but it's not like Target or Bud Light. When I go for coffee, we've got 2 coffee shops. One's hardcore woke, big masks only, and they don't carry heavy cream. And I'm like, okay, not interested. And then you've got Starbucks that they allow people to come in without masks. And at a certain point, like the mask mandates were dropped, this one store kept them up. Like, that's the wokeness, that's the weird cult-like behavior. And Starbucks was like, no, you're good. And they have heavy cream. Man, and I'm not a big fan.
Cashback.
Cash back it.
Cash back like a pro. With Chase Freedom Unlimited. How do you cash back?
I could sell my business right now for easily over $1 million, but I don't.
What? To who? To who, you fucking moron? Put down the Everclear, bro. Okay, like, how drunk did I have to be to think that my business circa 2014...
We will shut you down, we will cite you, and if we need to, we will arrest you, and we will take you to jail. Period.
It's June 1st, 2023. That means it's Pride Month, everybody. Happy Pride to you and your gay dog and your trans uncle, aunts, and everybody you know. Get out there and drink some Bud Light and go to Target and Tuck It and all that stuff. Oh my God, we're so excited here at the Rubin Report. I really was not in the mood to do that this morning. I don't know. It was a long night with the kids. The team put me up to it. It's Pride Month. It's like being smacked in the head with a giant sledgehammer. May God have mercy on our souls. May we get through these 30 days and roll into July with our genitals attached, head on straight. Pray. If you pray, now is the time. Guys, we're live streaming on Rumble, YouTube, and Locals. If you have not joined us on Locals yet, we do a post-game wrap-up show there every day at RubinReport.locals.com. Of course, we have an iOS app and an Android app, and we are doing a community Q&A today after I hit a couple stories up top. So if you want to still get your questions in last minute, we'll take them on the fly. RubinReport.locals.com. The theme of today's great program, I don't even know what that voice is exactly. It's like, what is it exactly? The theme of today's program, I was watching on Twitter last night, which Twitter has shifted a little more towards the video realm, right? They're going a little more in that YouTube Rumble space, which is great. It's just great to see more products, more stuff out there. The folks at the Babylon Bee, they did a long form, it was about a little over an hour long interview with Elon Musk over at Twitter. We'll show you a couple clips of that, obviously related to free speech and everything else that's been going on lately. A little bit of the Trump DeSantis thing, which keeps heating up, and I'm really, I think, as you've seen over the last week or so since DeSantis has announced, I'm really trying to be fair with this thing. I'm not pretending that my feelings are not what they are. Obviously, I think DeSantis is a better choice. I supported Trump for a long time and happen to still like Trump to a degree. I don't like a lot of his behaviors at the end of this thing, although I would prefer that we have President DeSantis because I think that could fix the country. I actually think that's the thing that could fix the country. If we end up with President Trump and I have a governor, Ron DeSantis, right here in Florida, that would be okay too. The thing that we don't want is President Biden or Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom, God forbid, or whatever else. So trying to deal with that as decently as possible. And you just got to remember, we're still a year and a half away from the election, which is just crazy. So everyone's going nuts. And it's like, calm down, everybody. You know, and I'll get to more on that in just a sec. Let me talk to you guys about Genucel, and then we will get to it. You know, Genucel has just upgraded their most popular package to feature their top-selling deep firming vitamin C serum plus ultra retinol moisturizer with natural retinol alternative. And right now, take advantage of this limited time package upgrade for 70% off. Why waste time and money to go get work done to your face when you can get Genucel skincare shipped right to your door? Here's a Genucel.com review from Robert in Blessing, Texas. I purchased Genucel as a gift for my girlfriend. She said she saw results so fast, so we joined their concierge program immediately. It's honestly the best skincare she's ever used and is extremely impressed with all of Genucel's products. Her skin is noticeably softer and smoother. I can see and feel the difference. She was already beautiful, and Genucel has made her even more beautiful. Genucel's secret is a family recipe for over 20 years that makes it safe for all skin types and perfect for both men and women. Made by a compounding pharmacist small batches, and always safe, cruelty-free, and natural. Go to genucell.com/Dave. Save over 70% off Genucell's most popular package, featuring both the Genucell Ultra Retinol and Genucell Firming Serum. Don't wait, go to genucell.com/Dave. That's genucell.com and /Dave, and you'll get a complimentary spa essentials box with every package, plus free upgrade to priority shipping. Genucell.com/Dave. Okay, here we go. So the Babylon Bee guys sat down with Twitter CEO Elon Musk at Twitter in the dystopian nightmare that is San Francisco, and they talked a little bit about comedy and why it's no longer funny.
The essence of a lot of comedy is a revealed truth, like a hidden truth that people understand intuitively or explicitly, and there's that sort of moment of revealed, kernel of truth, of often unacknowledged truth, and in that unacknowledged truth is the humor. If you're, premised on a lie, you can no longer be funny because there's no revealed truth. And this is, why a lot of people on the left have no sense of humor. They're not funny.
Yeah, he's so right about that. I mean, think about just the evolution of stand-up comedy over a couple of decades. Like, just in your own head right now, do your top 3 favorite stand-up comics. Like, if I was doing my top 3 favorite all-time stand-up comics, I've probably got George Carlin number 1. For me, it would be George Carlin number 1 just because of the breadth of the work. I know a lot of people say Richard Pryor number 1. I would probably put Pryor at 2 because I think he only had like 2 really, really great specials. Carlin had probably 10. And then I think you could do like a Bill Maher at the peak of his stand-up days. The point is, all of you right now watching this, you can think of great stand-ups, and the reason you like a stand-up, the reason they make you laugh is there is that hidden truth, and they're sort of getting you right to that line, and then through the joke they can kind of trip over that line, and that's what the release is. The release is the laughter.
Look at you, the hostess with the mostest.
How does she do it?
Trip over that line, and that's what the release is. The release is the laughter. But as so many comics went woke and became sort of lefty lunatics, we wrecked comedy to the point that nobody in their right. When's the last time you met somebody who was like, did you see Saturday Night Live the other night? Like, how great was that? No, like, occasionally I play clips of Saturday Night Live on the show to show you how horrible it is, or how they wrecked The Daily Show, or any of the Tonight Show, the Late Night with Colbert, whatever any of those shows are. They're all hysterical, sort of partisan hackery, which is why Greg Gutfeld, who's not even a stand-up, right? I mean, Greg was, I don't think he ever did stand-up. He's number 1 in late night because he's just kind of loose and silly, and it's not hyper-produced or over-produced, and he's doing something that is closer to the truth because you know what his actual beliefs are on these things. The line, if you're premised on a lie, you can no longer be funny because there's a reveal of truth, is just particularly good. And I think Elon, having gotten to know him a little bit, there's just sort of like a soft way that he talks about things in a thoughtful manner that I think is particularly good. Let me just show you one other clip from the interview, and then I want to just mention the physical location of the interview. Check out the room that they're sitting in. I'll tell you a little bit about that. This is Elon talking with the Babylon Bee guys about how NPR, remember how NPR had a Twitter fit because he labeled them state-sponsored media, and I'm pretty sure they're not even on Twitter anymore because of that, even though they are state-sponsored media, and it used to be on their website. Take a look.
As you've seen, we've open sourced the algorithm and made, at this point, I think, well over 100 changes.
But how will we stay informed if NPR isn't there anymore?
At any given point, I'm not sure if NPR is there or not. I wasn't aware that they were there until they said they were not going to do that. I mean, we're trying to apply the rules consistently at Twitter so that, the NPR thing is like, well, if we're going to call some media state-affiliated, well, there's plenty of media organizations in the US that are, or in the West, that are state-affiliated. So then we should apply the label equally. And then they got very upset about that. And said that state-affiliated implies that the state has editorial authority of an influence over the content. I'm like, so you're saying you don't have that? Right. How self-aware are you?
It was on their website.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's the Well, NPR literally on their own website said the federal, government funding is essential to their operation.
Right.
And so we even changed it from state affiliated to state funded. So that's just literally a statement of fact.
Right.
I mean, we could actually just lift the same text from their website and put it at the label. But they're still...
And they're unhappy with that.
Yeah, they're unhappy with it.
The reason I really wanted to show you this clip, I get it, none of you love NPR and you don't care whether NPR is on Twitter anymore. And yes, it was a statement of fact saying you are state-funded media. It used to literally be on NPR's.org website that they were state-funded. But the reason I really wanted to show you that was because, we deal with all this like woke nonsense through these corporations, and I show you these clips of the Target CEO or the Chick-fil-A CEO or the Bud Light marketing executive all bowing to wokeness. No one's saying what they really believe. All like they're reading a script. We showed you even the Toronto Blue Jays pitcher yesterday, with his really horrible apology struggle, Mao-style struggle session where he's just apologizing for having liked an Instagram post about a boycott of Target. Well, the point is that so few people are actually willing to tell the truth, or certainly they're not willing to tell the truth in any sort of nuanced way with a little bit of humor and everything else. And that's what, having been to Twitter a couple of times and spent some time with Elon, like the guy is just trying to do the right thing. It's just become so like patently obvious to me. And I think that's important. And it's sort of, what I always tell you with DeSantis, it's like he's trying to do the right thing. That's worthy of being modeled. It's worthy of being lifted so that other people can hopefully do that too. And he is doing that. I just want to mention one other thing about the locale that they're doing that in. So that was at the Twitter offices. And if you go back later and you rewind and you watch, they sort of blurred out the background. But it's so interesting there because they're in this massive building I think it's on Market Street. It's a public building. I'm not doxing Twitter. They've got a big sign that says Twitter outside. It used to be like a great area in San Francisco. Now, obviously, the homelessness and the drugs and everything else is absolutely horrible. Actually, I was standing in the office and Elon was just like pointing around, just showing us where like the worst pockets of insanity are. Don't walk down that street, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, he came in there, and as you guys know, they had about 7,500 employees, immediately fired half. He's still been firing people, still thinks he has people in there that he's got to get rid of. But the point of all that is they have this huge space that when you talk about dystopia in San Francisco, now you've got a massive tech company, perhaps the most important tech company in the entire world in terms of the way we can communicate these days about the important issues. And there's basically nobody there. So what you're seeing behind them is this giant commissary that used to be there to feed 3 meals a day, thousands of employees, and it's just absolutely empty. So all that being said, Elon, if you're watching today, we'd be happy to have you in Miami. I want to jump to one other topic, somewhat loosely affiliated with truth and lies. You may have seen this tweet 2 days ago from disgraced former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Now, of course, Andrew Cuomo, you remember Andrew Cuomo, he's the one that ordered all of the elderly people with COVID back into the old age homes, thus killing really an untold amount of people. If you want more on that story, check out my interview with Janice Dean, Fox meteorologist Janice Dean, whose in-laws both died because of Cuomo policies on that. Anyway, here's a tweet from Andrew Cuomo from 2 days ago. Donald Trump tells the truth finally. New York got hit first and worst, but New Yorkers acted responsibly. Florida's policy of denial allowed COVID to spread, and that's why they had a very large second wave. So first, I just want to mention, it's a little sort of hilarious to now see Andrew Cuomo and Donald Trump on the same side, but we've also got Donald Trump and MSNBC on the same side when it comes to Ron DeSantis. It's also like just a complete rewriting of history and everything else. Cuomo should be embarrassed for the rest of his life and never be in public office ever again after what he did related to the old age homes. And also, even though, actually, if you look at the total amount of deaths, if we're to trust these numbers, Florida and New York had about the same, but it's not about deaths per se, because you have to look at age of population. Florida has the second oldest population. And you also have to look at what is the role of government. Was it the role of government to lock you in your house? Who were the officials who started realizing, oh, we should get kids back at school. We shouldn't be locking everyone down and closing businesses and all of those things. So even if one state had significantly better numbers, the question is, Are all the draconian measures worth it? Is that what the purpose of government and having rules and regulations are? That's a debate that we should all have.
Since joining the website this month, I've already earned over $20, and that's just from getting gas. I'm getting cash back.
We all have, but if at the end of the day, you think that New York and or California, etc., did a better job than Florida, I got a bridge to sell you, people. I really do. Anyway, Trump's been going after DeSantis relentlessly and attacking Florida. We played that he went after Kayleigh McEnany yesterday, which I think actually has shifted things a little bit. You know, it's one thing when Trump goes after all of like the deep state people, or he goes after like middle management government people, CIA people, et cetera, et cetera. But Kayleigh was so outwardly a defender of him and did it so well at the height of COVID with the hostile media that I even saw some of Trump's most loyal backers yesterday finally being like, enough is enough. Like this guy who talks about loyalty all the time, who has he not turned against? I would ask you that. Who has he not turned against? How is it possible that everyone he's ever worked with is a sellout and a rhino and a globalist and an idiot, whether it's Christopher Wray or it's John Bolton or it's Chris Christie or it's Kayleigh? Like everybody has somehow turned against him, and it's always their fault. Like, it doesn't quite make sense. Anyway, DeSantis was campaigning yesterday in Iowa, and somebody in the media asked him about Trump's attacks in Florida. I thought this response was pretty solid.
So you talked about changing your tone a little bit with former President Trump. I don't believe you mentioned him here by name tonight, but does this mean you're going to be a bit more aggressive with campaigning against him?
So look, I'm going to respond to attacks. I mean, if you say Cuomo did a better job with COVID than Florida did, first of all, that's not what he used to say. This is like new. Like 6 months ago, he would have never said that, right? He used to say how great Florida was. Hell, his whole family moved to Florida under my governorship. Are you kidding me? So some of this stuff, I think, is, look, if someone is saying that, I am gonna counterpunch. I'm gonna fight back on it. I'm gonna focus my fire on Biden. And I think he should do the same. He gives Biden a free pass. I'm focusing on Biden. That's my focus.
You know, it's not that hard to speak clearly when you're telling the truth, right? It's just as simple as that. It's not that hard to be funny when you're doing something true, to link it to what we were talking about a moment ago. But it is true. Like, all of Trump's family lives here now. Several of his kids and all of his grandchildren moved to Florida during COVID because of the policies of Ron DeSantis. Trump is not attacking Biden at all. I would recommend you look at Trump's Truth Social feed. You could look at Jason Miller, who I think is the campaign manager. Look at his Twitter. It's all against DeSantis, right? And DeSantis said the right thing. I'm not going to spend all day attacking him, but I will respond to attacks. And again, the reason I'm laying this out for you guys the way I am is I think there is a more mature way to do all of this, and we're starting to see it. It is being born. And I don't think we want it to be stillborn. I think we want it to be born and given a chance to grow. And I think that is what I will do as we continue this crazy year and a half. All right, we got a locals community Q&A for you. Before we get to it, let me talk to you guys about Old Guard pet food. Don't all dog food companies want the best for your dog? Well, no, not really. Pet food companies are pushing trendy ingredients and expensive recipes like fresh and raw, but are they better? No. In fact, most have no proven health benefits for your dog. Also, watch as these dog food companies release bug and vegan recipes. They'll show you where their priorities really are. If you don't want to compromise on high quality ingredients and want science-backed recipes, real proven science, not Fauci science, get Old Guard. It's the only pet food company founded and run by a PhD in pet nutrition with quality ingredients like real chicken, egg, fish oil, and probiotics. Old Guard's recipes are perfectly balanced with health benefits and a taste your dog will love. Everything, including their resealable bags, are made right here in the United States. So right now, go to oldguardpetco.com. Subscribe today, and it'll be delivered right to your door using code DAVE for a discount. With Old Guard, you don't have to compromise ingredient quality, your dog's health, or your traditional American values. Buy from a company that puts your dog first. Clyde's loving the treats. And now back to me. Okay, RubenReport.locals.com. Community Q&A. Casey says, it used to be that a person would get arrested for public indecency, but put pride in front of it, and it's fine. Why? It's so bizarre. Again, every time we have to cover one of these stories, I go out of my way to say whatever you want to do as an adult with another consenting adult in the privacy of your own home, or at a club or somewhere where it's adults only. Do whatever the hell you want. That's my position on it. It's a more libertarian position. I want people to not infringe on my rights to live as I wish, and that's a two-way street. That's the way I view it. I know some people may have a slightly different view on it. That's okay too. But this bizarre notion that it has to be done in front of children, or it has to be done in public, that you have to wear assless chaps to celebrate pride in front of children as some guy in a dog costume spanks you, it's just, come on. We all know it's not right. So that's why it's such a damn shame, because this LGBTQ two-spirit nonsense, all these letters together, this ridiculous month. You know what happens every month? I saw it already this morning. All of these companies in America, you see it like BMW and all the beer companies and everybody else. They all put their American logos now or in a rainbow on Twitter. So if you open up Twitter, you'll see all these American companies just rainbow, their same logo, but with rainbow backgrounds. Then if you look at their Middle Eastern counterparts, if you look at like Mercedes-Benz, Saudi Arabia, odd. No rainbow logo there. Makes you wonder. It's all virtue signaling nonsense, and enough is enough, guys. I will not be celebrating Pride. I think maybe we're going to have we were thinking about having chicken Caesar salads for dinner tonight, but I don't know if that's a real celebration. Dave says, would you ever do a debate with Don Jr., you representing Ronnie D. and him representing his father? I think it would be a good way to show conservatives how their policies differ, and you two would be able to shake hands and agree to disagree. So actually, I mentioned this in the post-game show yesterday, but I may as well say it publicly now, and is what it is. I've been thinking for a while. Don and I have been friends for a long time, over a decade. But before his dad was in politics and everything else, we had a connection in New York City from way back when. He was doing my show on Sirius XM probably in like 2011, something like that. Got to know each other pretty well. We've broken bread many times together. I consider Kimberly a friend as well, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I obviously, as this thing has heated up and I've been going after Trump, I've been feeling a little bit of like, I don't want this to ruin friendships. I know that is very hard these days. It's hard for everybody, but I really don't want it to ruin friendships. And I texted Don a couple days ago and I just said, hey, Don, I know we may end up on different sides for a while, but I want you to know I value friendship more than politics, and we were friends before your dad was in, and I hope we'll be friends after. Within 2 seconds, like as if he must have been holding his phone in his hand, he responded with almost the exact same thing right back. Almost the exact same thing. So we are totally good. We are going to be good. I don't go after the family. As you can see, I go out of my way to tell you that these are good people and all of that stuff. And yes, I will gladly have a sit down with Don. He doesn't drink. I was going to say we do it over a drink. He doesn't drink, but we can just do it.
Fox News Alert now, high-stakes debt deal ceiling, clearing the House, and facing another tough vote in the Senate, where our next guest plans to vote against it. GOP presidential candidate, Senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott. Senator, great to see you. Congratulations on getting in the race.
Morning, Brian.
And long anticipated. A lot of people pushing you forward, and they should. First off, your reaction to the House vote yesterday. 70 Republicans said no.
Yeah, no doubt. This was a deal that Kevin McCarthy had an incredible task ahead of him. He had to negotiate with someone who said they did not want to negotiate. So when you look at the results of the negotiation, A, you got to be thankful that there was one. But B, now let's look at the details. The biggest detail for me is the fact that Joe Biden, who we cannot trust on spending, has an unlimited credit card until the end of his term. Until January 2025, there is no limit. There is no way for us to understand what he's going to spend, except for looking back. 1.2 trillion more last time, 2 trillion this fiscal year. I can only imagine that next fiscal year will be more. The American people cannot afford Joe Biden with an unlimited credit card and no one holding him accountable until after we defeat him in November of 2024.
What about the pay-go provision? What about the 1%, capping at 1%? Does that do anything for you?
Well, that does something, but the truth is that the pay-go was a substitution for the REINS Act, which actually would reduce spending because it would require every time you have a regulation that goes up by $100 million, others have to come down. Pay-go is trying to get there; it just doesn't go far enough.
All right, so the field got bigger. The big news was for you, and then DeSantis, and now it's going to be Vice President Mike Pence and Chris Christie. Are you getting concerned the field is getting too big to have your voice heard?
I am not, actually. The good news is, as I travel around, the one thing that's happening in Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina, the crowds are getting bigger and the enthusiasm's getting higher. What I'm learning is that people are starving for an optimistic, positive message. As long as you have a backbone and you're talking about conservative principles. People love our message. The more we get out, the better off we are. And the good news is you can help by going to votetimscott.com. We need all the help we can get.
And you're getting a lot of help and a lot of financial support. People really pushing you to run ever since you gave the rebuttal speech after the president spoke on his first speech after becoming president of the United States. You have an op-ed that everyone's reading on FoxNews.com right now, talking about your personal story.
Yes.
That you still believe this is the land of opportunity, even though patriotism is down and people getting concerned fresh off Memorial Day. Even though your grandfather grew up in the Jim Crow South, you see nothing but possibility in America.
Absolutely, Brian. The one thing we all should realize and take a step back from the pundits who tell us that the progressive story of America is one that is filled with racism. It is a lie from the pit of hell. What we can believe is the story of evolution. America is the one country on earth that fought the big fight so that we could all live together. I'm not talking about the Civil War. I'm talking about the fight that happens every single day, where everyday Americans show up for each other. That's why my Faith in America tour reinforced my confidence that believing in each other is our best path forward. Here's what we know about the Biden administration.
Looking for the rarest bottles at the best price?
This is what a zombified corporation looks like. From The Advocate, Bud Light pledges $200,000 to support LGBTQ plus business owners of color. Bud Light is currently reeling from a massive boycott, which has knocked it down from the #1 spot in the country to #2. #1 now is Modelo. In the United States, Modelo is controlled by Constellation Brands. So this is a correction update from the previous segment. I did mention this, but, upon further investigation, I have more information. Basically, there was an antitrust suit which said Anheuser-Busch InBev can't own Modelo in the U.S. So outside the U.S., it's Anheuser-Busch, but in the U.S., Modelo now #1. I'm glad to hear it. I like Modelo, so that's a good thing. But let's talk about the zombification of enterprise. Bud Light knows that what they did with Dylan Mulvaney hurt them severely. But they keep on trucking along like mindless zombies. Now I wonder, with the latest news being that Bud Light's parent company sees $27 billion gone. Shares near bear market. 20% down from its highs. 27 billion wiped out. I will say this. People have asked, can you sue Anheuser-Busch for violating or neglecting their fiduciary duties to their shareholders? I believe the answer is yes. If you are a shareholder in Bud Light and 30% of their customers jump ship, their stock is in free fall, and we all know why. And Bud Light responds by saying, we're doubling down. They are intentionally destroying the stock value. They are intentionally sabotaging this brand. Now, it may be, that's why I call them zombified. It may be that they're just mindlessly marching along. They don't care. Well, that's negligence. And if you're holding stock, I imagine you're going to lose a lot of money. You probably already did. You're going to lose more because, man, I'll say this. If you were somebody who, here's how I broke it down, because Target is also down like, I think, $13 billion. If you were holding on to Anheuser-Busch stock when this controversy started, you probably thought, look, these things blow over, boycotts are not going anywhere, I'm fine, I'm not going to sell my Anheuser stock. That'd be silly. Then when it dipped by a few bucks, you're probably thinking, well, it went down, but this is probably the bottom. Then it went down way more. Now I think it's down like $15 or something, with no end in sight. Now you're angry, thinking like, okay, maybe this will finally stop. And then Bud Light announces they are doubling down. Not only are they giving $200,000 directly to LGBTQ plus causes, we also have Bud Light sponsors Cincinnati Pride Parade after Dylan Mulvaney controversy. It's a zombie brand. It is a zombie brand. It is being worn like a skin suit. There's no one in charge anymore. There's no one looking at this company and being like, hey, our goal is to sell beer. It's institutional capture. I don't know what you could do. I'd imagine if you are a shareholder, you probably have grounds for a lawsuit, but at this point, anybody still holding the stock either just isn't paying attention to their wealth and they don't care. Like, you've got to be somebody who just puts your money away and forgets about it. Did I have stock in that? Wow, I lost a lot of money. You must be very well off. I'd imagine most people who are holding shares in Anheuser-Busch were probably freaking out. I wonder who it is who's still holding this. No, seriously, I mean, obviously people still have Bud Light stock. But even if you support these social justice moves, you don't need to just lose all your money. That's the craziest thing. It's like, all right, give your money away, I guess. Sitting there, I'm going to keep holding the stock for personal, principled reasons. So, okay, you could sell it and put your money into literally any other company for the next couple of months and still support Bud Light in what they're doing. I don't know. I guess there are people who are just like, it's okay to lose tons of money. Or they're just not paying attention. Check it out from theadvocate.com. They say, Bud Light and the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce announced on Tuesday that they will expand, typo guys, their existing partnership with Bud Light, donating $200,000 to the Chamber's Communities of Color initiative. Bud Light was brewed to be an easy-to-drink, easy-to-enjoy beer for everyone 21 and up, and that still holds true today, said Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light's parent company, in a release. We look forward to extending our work with the NGLCC